This afternoon, Ohio lawmakers in the State House of Representatives there voted to override Governor Mike DeWine's veto of House Bill 68 by a vote of 65 to 28. Now, the language of the Ohio Safe Act protects children from gender surgeries, these experimental surgeries and drugs, as well as safeguards female athletes and sports. Now, the Ohio State Senate is expected to hold their own override vote before the end of the month. Now, the momentum we continue to see at the state level on this issue demonstrates both the public appetite for pushing back against the extreme LGBT agenda, particularly when it harms children, as well as the importance of state and local elections. I mean, this is the type of things that really emphasizes why we have to be engaged. Well, join me now to discuss this and more is Walt Heyer. He is a senior fellow here at the Family Research Council, and he's also the founder of SexChangeRegret.com. Walt, welcome back to Washington Watch, and I don't think I've officially been able to welcome you to the Family Research Council, but welcome.
Thank you, Tony. It's good to be on. Appreciate that.
So, Walt, I want to get your reaction to today's override, but before I do that, I want to give some context here to our viewers and listeners. In the opening of the show, I said you know a little bit about this. Actually, you know a lot about this, as you are one who detransitioned, and so you have made really your life's calling has come to the point of trying to help others avoid the trauma of what is happening to these children.
Yeah, absolutely. We started a website, Sex Change Regret, about 13 years ago, and we've had well over 2 million views to the site. I've gotten well over 10,000 emails, people asking for help, because a lot of people suffer from regrettable outcomes. Anywhere from, I've worked with kids as young as 10 to adults in their 70s. So this is a big issue, and the harm that is being done by hormones and surgery is just kind of unimaginable. So I'm real happy to hear what's happened in Ohio, the override.
What did Governor Mike DeWine miss when he vetoed this bill last week? How did he get it wrong?
Yeah, he apparently hasn't looked at the data, which talks about the harm, the huge amount of harm that's being done. As I recall, he went to the hospital and just talked to some of the young people in the hospital and got his feedback from them. And I think one of his quotes was, "The parents know better about this issue than the people who are voting to protect the children." But it's not true, because the parents really are not any more educated on it, apparently, than DeWine was. I do wonder sometimes some of our Republican governors have done vetoes who have supermajorities that are actually kind of known they're going to get overridden. So I don't know if, I suspect in some cases it may be more of a political move to try to balance things out. I'm not sure, because he did get it wrong, but the override got it right.
I want to go back, Walt, to something you just said a moment ago about the parents not having all the information. We've had testimony, and I know that you are familiar with this, that some in the medical community will say, you know, if you have a young girl that wants to transition to a male, you say, you know, what do you want, a son or a dead daughter? And so they really put the emotional pressure on the parent to fall in line with this and do not give them the actual facts about what the outcomes could be.
Right. The actual truth is, this has been known since the late 70s. The first report about the harm being done of hormones was reported by Dr. Charles L. Ehlenfeld at the Benjamin Clinic in 1979. It was the harm being done by hormones and surgery was reported in 2004 by the UK Guardian. And Sweden has been reporting it for years about the harm being done. In fact, their studies show, because they look at every single person, because it's, you know, socialized care there. And they found that you're 19 times more likely to die from suicide after you take the hormones and surgery. So the parents and DeWine apparently aren't looking at the actual research data. They're doing more of emotional ideology than actually looking at what's actually happening.
So Walt, how do we educate the public and these medical associations in the media that is pushing this narrative? How do we overcome that?
Well, I think we're doing the right thing by passing laws, because apparently people don't want to look at the data. And so if they aren't going to look at the data, and then we have to pass laws to protect them. But I think I've published 7 books, and the books have that information in it. Those books are on my website, Sex Change Regret. A lot of people have published research studies about this, and I think, if you dig in and just not go in for the ideology and understand that hormones are harmful, surgery is harmful. The fact of the matter is, hormones and surgery destroys young children. It actually is most destructive thing that you can do, and girls taking hormone therapy is unbelievable what it does to them over a long period of time. Many of them suffer so many things. I've worked with, like I said, some of them have taken hormones for 15 years.
Walt Heyer, we got to leave it there. I want to thank you so much for joining us again. Welcome to the Family Research Council.
Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it.